everyone, this is Traci.
And I'm Tigh with E&R Business Consulting. We're getting this both audio and video to put it up on YouTube and up as a podcast, so whichever way that you retain the information better, you can get it that way. We're going to be doing a little series called Let's Talk About It, a little mini series of shorter videos regarding business topics that we have found interesting and feel that it can be useful to you guys as well. So for our first episode of Let's Talk About It, let's talk about lessons learned.
Okay, so we're going to talk about lessons learned. This is not a term that most people are familiar with. In fact, lessons learned is a tool I became familiar with while I was in the Army. The Army uses lessons learned in everything they do. It is a short, easy way to document the work that's done and possible ways to improve it in the future. Lessons learned was actually a practice that the Army used since World War II. During World War II and the Korean War, the practice was actually called combat bulletins. It's where soldiers got together, discussed things that they feel went wrong and ways that they can improve it. Soldiers learn from their experiences of others, giving them an opportunity to avoid making the mistakes in the future. This concept changed to being called lessons learned in the Vietnam era. They now have a manual to refine the concepts of lessons learned and even a building to understand observations, insights, and lessons that people experience during their time of service. If this works so well for the Army, why can't it work for your business?
So how would a business owner use the concept of lessons learned?
Listen, this is a very easy diagram to create and use. We especially use it in our business to ensure that we do not continue making the same mistakes over and over, whether it be within the business or processes on how we deal with customers. What I'll say is you can easily use Excel or Google Sheets to create this, but I'm going to draw it on the board here just to make it easier for you to understand. What you do is you create two columns, right? You create a column for the problem, and then basically make a line, and then you create a resolution column. Sorry for my sloppy handwriting. If you want it neater, do it in Excel or into Google. And then what you do is you annotate, you sit down with your team, or if you don't have a team and you're an individual, you just sit down and think about the problems that you've dealt with in the last week, the last month, or however often you want to run through it. But you come up with the problems, you annotate what they are, and then find the resolution. Since you're simply using one column as the problem and the other column as your resolution, then sit down with your team and brainstorm ways that you have had problems in the past. If you're doing this personally, I would say to keep a paper on your desk or something, so when you deal with an issue, you can scribble it down on the paper. Then in the end of the week, put it down into a spreadsheet. Think about what your problems have been and come up with better ways to do it. It is obviously a nice thing to have a team to brainstorm with, but if it's something that you don't have, there are ways to work around this. All you need to do is identify what the issues are and what you're experiencing. And when you're doing the lessons learned on your own, make sure you jot it down so that way when you backtrack, you can remember the things you've come across. What do you think?
Personally, with my experience with it, since we've started our business, I think it's very useful. We've gone back to it and actually avoided mistakes that we've previously made and started to adjust. And also one thing that we have done, I would recommend to people is when you find that the resolution isn't the best one, go ahead and put that as the problem and then put a new one, or just edit it and fix that problem again. So it's not something that's like set in stone.
So do you mean add another column or add another row maybe to enhance what that problem is to find a new resolution to it?
Personally, I think that the better option for like the way I like spreadsheets to be, I would put another column and probably call it like resolution 2.0.
Okay.
And I would gray out the original column and then put the next one. But some people might just delete it and then go to the next one. I feel like it's important to annotate what also didn't work though.
Right, because having it there and keeping it can show you what resolutions you've tried that possibly didn't work, or even if it's a problem that you did find a resolution to, I don't think you should take it out anyway, so that way you don't have a reoccurring problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what we've done in the past is we review our lessons learned once a month, and so if we didn't have those previous problems still listed, we might wind up circling back around and realizing that we're falling into that same hole again if we don't keep reviewing what we've improved on.
Right.
Yeah. I like it.
So we kind of touched on it just now, just for everyone, making sure we're clear on it. How often do you think people should be reviewing it?
I think it's dependent on your own business. It's dependent on how busy you are and how big your team is. If you have a larger team, I would say that you probably need to review it more often, maybe once a week, because then you're not winding up spending a whole day reviewing your lessons learned. If you have it more often, you'll find that it's easier and quicker to go through the process of reviewing the past lessons learned, or even what lessons learned came from that specific week. Because if you have a larger team, you're gonna have more people who can brainstorm and come up with information. If it's you yourself, you might find, like how we have found, because it's just the two of us, that doing it once a month is easier and less time consuming, because it's just the two of us coming up with what we found through the month.
Okay. So basically, bigger teams, more projects, more frequently.
Yes.
Should be more frequently reviewed.
That's what I feel like, because I think that when you wait too long, you're going to forget things that happened, number one, and number two, if you have a larger team, you're going to have more ideas, so it's going to take more time. I don't like spending more than an hour on a meeting, so I would say if you have more team members, try to keep the meeting within an hour or even 30 minutes. I personally like a 30-minute meeting.
I like those too, because I don't like being stuck in meetings and then people just start chit-chatting. It's a lot.
It gets lost, and then you lose focus of what you're even there to talk about.
I mostly don't like it because it takes me forever to refocus on the work I was doing prior to.
When you go back after a meeting, yeah.
I have this noted down. I just want to make sure we get it for the people that are starting businesses soon or have just started. If they're in that initial startup venture, very early young business, at what point should they start doing lessons learned?
Oh my gosh, I say right away. Because to me, even though you're a startup or you're newly in your business, you came across problems even just to start your business. And don't say you didn't, because you would be telling a fib. Everybody comes across problems along the way, even when you're starting a business. What kind of problems would you come across? How do you know how to contact a client? Well, you tried different ways, like you tried email, you tried cold calling people and things like that. Those are things that you would be doing in the very beginning of your business, and you're going to find one will work better than another for your particular business. If you have a brick and mortar, did you have a sign outside? Did you communicate with people that way to draw them into your business? You may find that a small sign works, or signs don't work at all. You need a guy out there with a sign flipping it around to get somebody's attention. These are lessons learned, even as silly as it sounds, but those are things that will get you to the next step of being a better business in the long run for your clients and for yourself.
Make sure you start it right away. Make sure you stay on top of it.
Make sure you review it often enough. Don't let it linger.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you go re-going over the past experiences, because that's the entire purpose of it.
Yeah.
Like you had talked about that. I actually found really fascinating is actually how it started, is that so like, you know, these military leaders can not have to go to be at that war to have learned from that battle.
Right.
Like
exactly.
They're able to get the experience without doing that.
Right.
So also thinking forward in your business long enough to the point that either you're selling it or you have people underneath you, you can use it in almost like a training method. I think that's kind of all we have. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
No, but I do think you just brought up a really valuable point. Like, even if you get to a point where you want to sell your business, or you're getting to a point where you may want to partner, a lessons learned document, even if it's 40 pages at that point of lessons learned that you've had through the course of your business, it is a great tool to use for that partner or that other business owner you're trying to sell to show them the things that you've worked on in that business to get to the point where you're at. So they can also learn from it. I mean, help them out along the way. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think lessons learned are a great tool. We should learn from everything that people have learned in the past. You can even go online actually and learn from other businesses and things like that. Those are lessons learned. Those are things that you can grow from other businesses and grow your business even better.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so that was our first Let's Talk About It session of the series. Let us know what you think. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell on YouTube, or just keep tuning in and subscribe on whatever podcast that you're listening from. I hope that everybody got something out of this, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Bye.